Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. Today's episode starts off a little bit different than usual. What you're watching right now is me doing some off-camera stuff. I thought I'd put it together in a montage because I wanted to start this episode off by talking about a couple of things. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was the speed challenge video that we put out last week. Now, not as many people turned up to watch that as I thought they would, and I was kind of a little bit concerned because I think it's going to make a really good and interesting series, and so I thought the LP would be the best place to talk about it. So the speed challenge is an old concept. The idea is you go into a vanilla world, a fresh world, and you have to try and achieve a certain goal as quick as possible. So you race against the clock to do whatever it is. For example, collect all 16 blocks of wool, or kill a ghast, or I don't know, craft something. It's usually something along those lines. So what I always wanted to do with that is be able to compete against someone else rather than just against the clock. So that's been made possible by my friend Alex, who codes plugins, and he coded this one for us that allowed us to go into identical worlds. So the server creates two identical worlds with the same seed, and then you both get teleported into those worlds to play the game. So that way you can actually compete against someone else and both be in identical worlds, you know, level footing and all of that. So that was the concept, and I was just a little concerned not so many people turned up for it. Maybe you thought it was something else. But if you do want to give me some feedback, let me know in the comments why you didn't turn up to watch it, and if you did watch it, what did you think of it? Because it seemed like quite a lot of people enjoyed it, and I really liked the idea. It was a hell of a lot of fun to record, and I can't actually wait to do the next one. I'm really excited for it. It's going to be recorded in about a week. I'm not sure what challenge we're going to be doing this time, but I've noticed that there's a few different ways you can do challenges. You can aim for an objective, like to gather something, or you can say do as much as possible within 20 minutes, i.e. try and get as much XP or as many unique items as you can. And so there's quite a lot of things you can do with these speed challenges, and I'm just really looking forward to them. So any feedback you want to give me in the comments would be really appreciated. I'm sure you guys know I do like to read my comments and find out what you guys are thinking. And so the second topic that I wanted to address is to do with when you make an invention or you showcase an idea to people. Now I do this through my tutorials. Other people do tutorial videos as well, and one of the things that I always make sure I don't do in my tutorials is to say look at what I have created or anything like that, because basically in this world no one really does anything 100% original. Everything that we do as humans is always influenced by things we have seen before us and things that have come before us. So you could say that Minecraft is influenced by Lego, but on YouTube we get these comments on my videos, on other people's videos, and it's something along the lines of so and so did this or you copied so and so, and it's something I think is really negative because it takes away from the importance of sharing ideas. And sharing ideas is really important, because if we don't share ideas then we're not going to move forward. So this what I'm talking about kind of transcends to more than just YouTube if you think about it, but I really wanted to address it because I feel like the community sometimes gets a little too focused on things that don't really matter. For example, who actually made something, and the second thing would be the size of it. So I put out a video the other day which was basically an RS NOR latch which was hooked up to two hoppers to create a pulse lengthener, and I got quite a few comments saying someone else already did this, it's too big, someone else made a smaller one. And the point is that by sharing it, I share it to my audience, so there's definitely people watching who've never seen this before. And also I'm showing a different way of doing it. So someone else who made a design that was smaller, or it was one wide, I'm showing you an alternative to that. So with an alternative there might be a situation where you can't actually wire this up one wide, you need something different. And so this is why sharing ideas is good. And when you see something that is similar to someone else's, it doesn't really matter that they've already done it, because you're looking at a new way of doing it. You can learn, you can understand more about that invention, and so it's a really important thing not to talk to each other like that in the community, you know, to say someone else already did this, you're copying, etc, etc. It's really important just to support and share ideas, because if I were to make something and go, well, this is similar to something so and so did, so I'm not going to put it out there, then a whole bunch of people who didn't know about what the other person did, you know, they'll never find out about it. And so when it comes to copying, one thing that I never do is just take what someone else has done and then, you know, write it off as my own. You'll also notice in my videos I don't actually say here's what I've made, I just show you how to make it, because I'm well aware that a lot of things that I make are influenced by other people's creations. So you pick up things as you go along, you know. Let's say you learn a trick onto how to make getting my tongue tied here, how to make a shorter pulse. Then every time you use that in a future video, you don't really want to be going around saying, okay, I've got to credit this person for that bit, and so taught me how to use redstone, so I've got to thank them. Otherwise, you'd never get to the point in your video. So the point that I'm making is a lot of the things that I make are actually influenced by loads of people around me, other redstoners. Now, if I do something that is a direct copy, if it is someone else's design and I really want to share it, then I'm going to say, this is someone else's work, I'm just showing you how to do it. But most of the time, the things that I make, I'm just coming up with in my test world, and it never really surprises me if I come up with something and then someone says, you know, someone else has already done this, because there are thousands of people, you know, playing with redstone every day, and quite a lot of people like to make videos on it, so it never really surprises me. And so what I'd like to see from you guys is just to remember that, you know, saying so-and-so already did this or it's too big, it misses the point. It's all about sharing ideas and sharing things in the community so that we can move forward and come up with better things. Because if we stop sharing ideas based on someone else had already done this, then we'd never be able to look at things from a different perspective. And I think last of all, I'd like to say is that the main point of my videos is to show you how to build them so you can learn from them as well. So that turned into a little bit of a rant. I hope you guys got the point though. I think it's a very important thing to learn, not just in Minecraft but in life in general. But anyway, I've done some enchanting. As you saw in the video, we got some great enchantments here. Check this out. Protection 4, Thorns 2. I mean, that's awesome. That's a great chest plate. And you know what? I've seen a couple of comments saying that I should be getting a sword. You're right, I keep meaning to make one, but I completely forgot. But always when you leave an Enderman farm, get yourself some XP. You can see I've got 37 levels here, so now I can actually go and enchant that sword. Now I got a ton of shovels as well. There is one thing that I've been doing for a long time, and that is creating a new shovel to replace an old one. Or, well, what I'm saying here is the same with axes and picks as well. So I'd create a brand new one and then combine a dead one with that to make a new one. And then for ones that were more expensive than that, I would actually enchant other picks. So ones like this fortune pick over here, that costs 4 diamonds to replace. And what I'd normally do is just leave it and use it to combine with another bad enchantment. I think that's the way I did it. So I would take like these two here and I would combine them together in a crafting bench and get a new shovel. Does that work? Yeah, a new enchanted one. It was something along those lines. Anyway, I've reevaluated my position on that. The way I'm going to do it now is repair my good items with diamonds and keep all of them renamed, and yeah, just hold on to the same ones. So we've got 2 silk touch picks. They've both been renamed. We have an efficiency 4 on breaking. You can see we've got a fortune one. I've named all of them as well, and we have 2 efficiency 5s. And then over here is my other silk touch pick. And I think we've even got more picks over at the Nether Fortress. But yeah, some good enchanting. I also got 2 silk touch axes, and it's one of those things, because you don't use it often, it never really comes to mind what can I actually get. I think I might be able to get mushroom blocks. We should actually do that right now, I think, as an experiment. So I'm going to grab some bone meal. And do I have any mushrooms? Yes, I do. Let's find out if this actually works. I've probably done this test before, but I don't have the best memory. That is the problem, and that's why I used to do like myth busting and things like that. Can we place this on sand? Nope, didn't think so. Yeah, because I want to find out, but then I usually forget, as it is. So anyway, let's go and plop this down over here. I'm pretty sure it has to be planted in a low light level as well. And is it... the sun's coming up, isn't it? Ah, okay. Well, I'm going to have to find a place to plant this first. So, I think this might just be big enough space. One of the picks I forgot to repair was the one that I had on my hotbar as well, but that doesn't matter. And there is a hole there, which means I need another block. So we put cobblestone there, put that on top, and yes, we can plant it. Excellent. Now, I'm not sure if we have enough space to grow this, and there goes all of my bone meal. Ah. Ender pearls. Always got to keep some ender pearls on you. I can't believe I forgot that. Yeah, this isn't going to work here. Right, let's make this a little bit lower, and then if not, I'm going to have to look for another location, aren't I? Alright, let's grab that dirt. I want to hold on to those mushrooms. So, 1 block. Now it's too close to the glowstone, isn't it? Oh, now I'm in a hole. Okay, right, let's go look for something else. Well, I wasn't expecting this to work, and then it did. but I found this little cave. This is right next to the, I was about to say mine shaft. It is a branch mine. I always have to think about that. Okay, branch mine, not a strip mine, but a branch mine. Let's make sure we get these things right. Okay, so yep, that looks like what it's for, because if I break it like this, it drops nothing. That's correct. And then if I use fortune, I'm pretty sure you'll get more of these as well. By that, sorry, I mean more mushrooms, because that's what usually drops from these. And there you go. Do you know what I think I need to do now? I think I need to collect some of these, so maybe I could make a mushroom farm soon. There we go. For some reason it's taken a while to pick up these items. We moved server recently as well, by the way. It's been really good since we had no problems whatsoever, so I'm pleased with that. Anyway, this episode what we're going to be doing is addressing some of the comments, and not like before, just little suggestions that people make about things that I should add and change to certain things I've made, like the cow farm or the shop over here. And so we're going to go around and just take a look at some of the things I've already built. So the feather falling shop, there are 3 suggestions that I've seen quite a few times, 2 of which we're going to implement, but the third one I'm not going to do, which is to combine the item frames together, so we have the feather and the feather falling boots in the same item frame. Now you may have seen a tutorial on this from me recently, and that's because I was playing around in the test world trying this out and learning how to do it. The thing is, when you put these 2 together, they just don't look good. If you've seen what it looks like when you put 2 item frames together, sometimes it can just be derpy, and that's exactly what happens with the feather and the boots. So I'm not going to do that, so we'll leave it how it is at the moment. And the other thing, if I were to do that, then the old symmetrical thing will kick in, and we'd either have it on one side or the other, and I'd probably end up like putting it on the left and making one sign on the right and just rearranging stuff. But anyway, it looks good how it is with the 2 item frames, I think. So the other suggestion that I've had is to get rid of these burnout clocks and use comparator clocks instead, which will be, I don't know, probably not much different, but I think they're silent and these ones aren't, so I might as well do that. We've got 2 of those, 1 on either side. And the other suggestion is to put in an indicator light so we know when there's no boots left in the system. Now if I look here, you want to put 1 light in, so that's going to be in a central position, which we don't have because this room is an even amount of blocks in width. So I'm thinking that the best place to put that lamp would be the other side of those boots. That will kind of indicate the amount of boots that are available. And also we need to put a sign as well. Just wanted to make a mental note there, not to forget to put a sign explaining what that is. So I think it's either one of these 2 blocks here, which means what we would have to do is put a comparator coming out of this. We could put it there. We could put a block just in this space here, and then a piece of redstone on this side, and then it would power that block there, which should then power the lamp on the other side. And if that doesn't quite work, I'm sure I can find a way to make it work. So I'm going to make those changes and we'll have a look in a moment. So I've added in the redstone lamp. I've also edited one of the signs down there to indicate what that means, and I've put in the comparator clocks as well. Now the one on this side works, as you can see there, but the one on this side doesn't, and I can't figure out why. So the wiring is exactly the same on either side. If we go over here, you can see we have 1 in subtract mode and 1 in the normal mode. We've got a power source back there, and then that's all there is to it. So when we take away this, it starts blinking and dispensing. Now we have the same thing on the other side, yet for some reason this doesn't work. So power source, subtract mode, normal mode, all of the wiring's the same, but when I remove this, it blinks and nothing happens. And you can see that this is actually connected to this up here, and if you're wondering if it's because it's a half slab, let me just change that for you so you can see that it isn't. So I don't know what's going on there, and I think the best thing to do is just change it back to the burnout clock, because that was actually working. But if anyone does have a solution for that, or knows why this works on this side, or sorry, on that side but not this side, then I don't know, leave a comment. But anyway, the bit up the top, I know some people are going to point this out as well, is that I'm taking the signal out of the hopper. So there's actually a bunch of items in this dropper here. Now I'd like to have a bit of a buffer, so if the shop does run out and someone doesn't notice the redstone lamp, then they can still actually use this. However, another idea that I've had is if we take away, and that's not going to work, is it? We need to replace these with blocks. So let's just do this one by one. If we put cobblestone in like this, then whenever an item is taken out of the dispenser right here, the first item in the hopper is going to go into it, and then the first item from the chest up above is going to go into the hopper. So those 4 slots there will never get used, which means that we can have 4 more boots available for people to buy. but it leaves a bit of a buffer just in case people don't realise how the lamp system works. But anyway, I'm going to change this back and I'm going to tidy this up, and then we're going to head over to the tree farm. So the tree farm, we have some changes to make here, but first of all, one of the commonly suggested things or questions that was asked is why didn't I use water streams in the middle here, because I used a lot of hoppers instead. Now the reason that I didn't use water streams, and I don't think I mentioned this when talking about how I designed it, was just that I don't like how it looks. You know, the water goes lower and lower down and you can end up with it going quite a few blocks down, which means you have to walk all the way down to the bottom here. Now something that I want to do today is actually move these chests and put in an item elevator to bring the chests, or sorry, to bring the items up to a chest that's going to be at this height here. We can actually see this now quickly. Let's get the right items. So you can have it like that, and then we'll have grass around the outside here, which I think will look a lot better. And that's actually something we could have done if we did have the water streams in. I just didn't really think about using item elevators. But this thing's going to be expanded. It's going to go further back one day, and when we would do that, it would mean we'd have to dig out all of the water even lower, and it would just be a real pain. So I much prefer just using hoppers. So anyway, one of the other suggestions that I had was to make this pagoda extend around all sides of the tree farm, which I think would look really, really nice. However, it's a huge amount of work and I'm not really in the mood for that at the moment, so maybe that's something I'll do in the future, but I think it's quite unlikely that I will. But I've got to say, it would look really nice if the pagoda extended around all sides. So what I am going to do today is add in those item dispensers, so they'll get transferred up to the chest at the top here, which is pretty good because I think this thing looks a bit ugly. You know, walking down to access the chest is kind of awkward and it takes up a bit of space, so that is going to look a lot better. And the other thing that I want to do as well is sort out the wall at the front here. Now I don't just want to change the wall, I think I want to do a little bit of terraforming around the front here as well, maybe change the shape of this lake and add a little bit of a garden or something along those lines, because this wall is pretty bland and boring at the moment. I've got some ideas as to how we can change that, but I think they're going to look better if we change the landscape around it, so I'm not sure. So I forgot to mention another thing that I'm going to be doing first of all is actually raising all of these glowstone blocks here up by one, so all of the ones in this lane and that lane here, and then we're going to see if those spruce wood trees would grow, because the gap between the bottom and the top, so that's the amount of blocks between the dirt block and the glowstone one, is 7 at the moment, and I thought that was enough for spruce to grow. And obviously it isn't, so we're going to raise that up by 1. I'll also be checking the light level to make sure that's okay, and we'll see if those trees can grow. So I'm working on the outside, and this is what came to mind, having some sort of gutter for water to come out of. And I'm not 100% sure if I like this. You know what I'm like with building exteriors, I'm never too keen on it. However, I think it's a good start, and at the moment I'm waiting for the grass to grow so we can plant down some bone meal around here. And it's really loud, I don't know if it's loud for you as well, but the rain is so annoying. Let's turn that down. But yeah, I need to bone meal around the edge here, maybe put some jack-o'-lanterns underneath so the water is a little bit brighter, and tidy up this area out here. I'm thinking of maybe putting a fence around the outside, just a very basic one, to sort of mark out the edge of this area that I'm going to be using, which won't be very big at all. It'll probably come out about as far as this, but the plan is to repeat what I built here, which is quite simple. We got some iron bars, a kind of circle shape made out of stairs, and then some cobblestone behind it. Now they are all stair blocks, so it doesn't actually connect to the iron, which you can kind of see. It connects to it normally when you have a solid block behind it, so it looks a little better because of that. And I want to repeat that over here. We're going to have one there and another one over here, so we're going to have 3 in total. And then after I've done that, I've just been trying to add in a few more bits of detail on here, and I'm not really happy with this so far. It doesn't really look that great, and I'm wondering if maybe having things come out of the building a little bit more would look better, so having some details like that, or maybe some stairs, something going on. I'm not really sure what to do, although I did just have the idea to perhaps put stairs like this with a torch on top of them, and then if we put one on the same place on the other side, so it's 1 block over, put one there. That doesn't look too bad in my opinion, but then again it's the same material as the bricks, so maybe we should try that with cobblestone. But this isn't really my strong point, doing details on buildings like this. Let's put that on there like that. That doesn't look too great. Maybe we could get away with doing some wood, since there's wood up there. We could put in some fence posts or something. Anyway, I'm going to continue playing around with that. I hope when I build more of this and building the other ones over there and there that I have some better details to put between them, because at the moment I don't really like this. It doesn't look that great, to be honest. So if we go around here, you can see that some of the trees are growing. That's because I moved all of these blocks up by one, as you saw. I've done my little run and jump thing again to place all of the glowstone. And so now I'm just waiting for the trees to grow naturally at the moment while I'm working on this other stuff. And I've also done all of the hoppers. So hoppers, item elevators. So if we just chuck down, and we got a couple of spiders. That's another thing about this farm. Some people noticed it in the previous video. There is a 1 high gap down there. Now, if you know, spiders need a 3 by 3 by 1 area to spawn. So this is actually great for spiders to spawn in. And some people might be annoyed by it. To be honest, I find it really funny that they spawn down there, because then when you're moving around, they just kind of follow you about the place, which is, I don't know, I find it funny, so I'm not really bothered about that. However, if it does become a problem, all we need to do is place down some extra ice. Now, I don't have any on me at the moment, but if I were to place an ice block underneath this one, you wouldn't actually see the outline of the block down there, so then you could place one every so often, and then you would remove all of the spawnable areas. So there is a solution to that as well. Anyway, what I wanted to do was show you the item elevator, so let's chuck down my torches. Now this item elevator works just fine. It isn't silent though, you heard it click there, and I think it clicks when it finishes as well. There you go, so it clicks when it starts and ends, and it's pretty simple. I think King Happy used this design, or he mentioned using the comparator clock. So what I did was just put down 2 comparators, a repeater, so if there's an item in there, the signal's going to come back round, and then that creates the clock, so it's going to blink, and it sends the signal to here. And because we're only going up 2 blocks, it means when this gets powered, the torch powers the first one, and then a moment later the delay as it unpowers to the block above it will power this one here. So that means that both of them get powered, and the item will always move through both of those. So this is the back of the iron bar grid thing. I don't even know what to call that now. A gutter, I think I call it. Anyway, and I've tidied up the area in here, so all of the redstone's been done all the way down to the end. But anyway, what I need to do next is continue, or at least finish doing this outside. It's taken me quite some time. Hopefully I can get it looking a little better than it does at the moment. So I decided to take a break, and that was very much a good idea, because when I came back to this, I just powered through and got all of this done. It took me a fair bit of time, but now it looks really good. And so the problem that I had, I think, was trying to come up with a detail to go between the gutters. The gutters do actually look pretty decent. They are fairly big as well. I sometimes look at it and wonder if I should lower the top by 1 block. But the bit between, it was always 1 wide, or I was coming up with something that wasn't very big. And so I decided to make it bigger. It's 3 wide, and then you've got extra bits on either side as well, so it's almost 5 wide, and it rests really nicely between each of the gutters. Now, adding the redstone lamp just added a little bit of colour and light as well, which is good. This thing actually looks really good at night. It was night a moment ago. I'll have to show you that sometime, because at night, yeah, it's nicely illuminated with all the torches and redstone lamps. But yeah, it looks decent, but the main thing here, I think, that works is that I've added a little bit of extra detail by adding in the cracked stone bricks and the mossy stone bricks. So I haven't gone overboard with them. The mossiest stuff is down here next to the water, and the cracked bricks are, you know, just few and far between. But when you stand back and look at it all, that detail kind of comes into play, where you can see little bits of cracked stone, and so it kind of breaks it up a little bit. So I think that looks really good. I was planning on putting some colour in there, but now that it's done like that, I think it's pretty good. And you know what, I just had an idea. I don't have any colourful blocks on me though. I was just looking at the cobblestone here, because that kind of blocks the block behind it. So if you were to replace that with colour, then you'd only get a little bit of colour coming into it, rather than a whole block's worth. But I think that'll do for now. And I've done a little bit of terraforming around here, as you can see. I've tried to make the ponds different, because these first 2 were kind of pretty much the same size. So this one over here kind of extends, and then there's this little gap here. And I placed down mostly long grass. There's the occasional cone thing, like that. Not sure what that's actually called. And you can probably hear that in the background. If you can't, never mind. But anyway, I've just got my window open at the moment is all. I decided to extend this river out a little bit as well. It kind of came over to here and just stopped. So I thought, why don't I keep extending it? And I made it go through here. And after I did it, I realised that all of this land is very flat, and it looks very bland having the river come through here. So not sure that was the best of ideas. I can easily fill that in, but it kind of creates a natural divide between Hypno's area over there and the tree farm on this side. Of course, if you needed more space, you could always move it back, so I'm not too fussed about all of this stuff right here. But it looks pretty good. And one last thing that I've done is I've gone up the top and added more jungle leaf blocks. I pointed out that it all kind of cut off at the same point, so if we come over the side here, you can now see where I've added a few extra blocks off the side. And I'm not sure if it really looks that great from the side, but from the front it doesn't make too much of a difference at all, so I'm pretty pleased with how this turned out. So the view from up here looks pretty good as well. I like how this long grass looks, but one thing that I've just noticed is that underneath this part of the river there's sand patches, and they kind of just break things up and make it look really natural, so maybe that's something I should be doing in the river over on that side as well. And I think we need a few more trees over here. We need to regrow that area with trees, because where I've removed it all, it kind of looks awkward now that we're not using that space. However, people have been pointing out that with new biomes coming in the future, there may be more tree types, so we might actually be expanding the tree farm in this direction as well. So it'd be a good idea to leave it how it is for now. I think you could probably fit in, and I've just noticed something here. I was going to say you could probably fit in about 3 more rows. But do you see how these torches are neatly laid out here? That was not me. I don't know who did that, but someone's come along and neatly laid them out for sure. But yeah, I haven't actually used this tree farm yet. While I've been building it, I've been waiting for every single sapling to grow, which I think has actually happened now, with the exception of a few over on this side. So I'll probably just grow them with bone meal and then chop these down in between episodes and start using this thing. And then I can report back to you on how it works. It should be pretty good. You just walk along. It's going to work really well with the branch trees, because you're just going to continuously walk along, break them down, look up, break the ones above you, and keep on moving. But some of these might take a little bit longer because you've got leaves between as well. But we could possibly modify that. If we move the glowstone here up by 1 block as well, then maybe more of them would grow at this height. But we'll find out. We'll still do some experimenting with this farm. But one little change I've thought of is to add some stair blocks here, so you can just get back up really easily without jumping. But I think that wraps things up for this episode. As I said, I'm going to be chopping down the trees in between episode, making these minor modifications. And so as always, I want to say thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.